What is going on, guys? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and I want to give some love to Quincy Williams. And if you followed along for a little while, you know I've been hard on Quincy Williams over the last few years. I'll explain why some things that I've harped on with him and why he's gotten rid of some of those things, and again, why he deserves a ton of praise now. So kind of comes full circle here, and the title of the video is 1000% the truth. Quincy Williams is playing like an elite linebacker right now. So you might be asking yourself, well, Matt, why were you hard on Quincy Williams? And through his first few years in the league and his first 2 years with the New York Jets, there were a lot of really big splash plays, but he was a very boom or bust player. The highs were very, very high, and the lows were very, very low. He wasn't great in coverage, and he missed a ton of tackles. That was part of the reason why I thought that, you know, some fans slightly overrated him, because they focused too much on the highest of highs and didn't really look at the lowest of lows, and they pushed that away. Now, keep in mind, the missed tackles and coverage are the two areas that I thought he struggled the most with his first years in the league. And we've seen significant, not a little bit of progress, significant progress through the first 4 games of 2023, which have him playing at a high level right now. So let's first look at how he does in coverage normally and how he looks so far this year. Let's just isolate the last 3 years. So his time with the New York Jets. Going back to 2021, he allowed a 98.3 passer rating. He had 3 pass breakups and allowed a reception on 78% of targets. So he was giving up a relatively high number of reception percentage. 98.3 passer rating allowed is pretty high. 3 PBUs over the course of a full season. Like, he struggled. The numbers were there. He was struggling at that point. Then the following year, so last year, it gets worse. So 103.8 rating, 85.7 reception percentage, and only 1 pass breakup on the entire year. Again, he was getting gashed in the pass game. He wasn't very good. Again, the splash plays were still there. He was coming down to the line of scrimmage and screaming around and making some high level plays, but in coverage is where he really struggled. Then this year, we noticed it in week 1. And now, 4 weeks into the year, it's continued. He's improved, significantly improved. A 74.2 reception percentage allowed, which is a big difference from where he was last year. 3 pass breakups already in 4 games, and he's allowed an 82.6 rating. Again, significant improvement. Not just a slight improvement, like, oh, he's a little bit better, he's passable now. He's good. He grades out on PFF as the second best coverage linebacker right now. The guy in front of him, Blake Cashman of all people. Yes, Blake Cashman number 1, Quincy Williams number 2. Who would have thunk it? But through 4 weeks of the season, that's the way it is. We have seen it's a night and day difference. He went from one of the worst coverage linebackers to not just passable, but to like damn good in coverage. And that's a major plus, because CJ Mosley is not the same guy that he was earlier on in his career, especially in coverage. It looks like he's lost a step, and now he's still a very smart football player, but Quincy's on it. Honestly, Quincy looks like the better linebacker right now, and it's not a knock on CJ Mosley. He's still a smart football player. He's still someone you want on your defense. We could talk about the price point being too high, but that's a conversation for another day. But in terms of the Jets, even with CJ Mosley where he was last year, second team All-Pro, and he's been a good Jet. They need someone at the linebacker spot who could come in and end up maybe eventually replacing a CJ Mosley, because again, while he's a leader on that defense, he's a smart football player, high football IQ, a leader, captain, all those things. They need to start getting, younger at the position, and Quincy Williams now seemingly surpassing CJ Mosley is a good first step there. Now, the second thing that I talked about, and something that I held against him, was missed tackles. In his career, his missed tackle rate was 23%, 25%, which is just astronomical. But even when his playing time got more consistent with the New York Jets, 12.1% and 14%. 14% is very, very, very high. 17 missed tackles last year led the team. It was a tough season last year for Quincy Williams with missed tackles. This year, 7.3%. He's cut that number essentially in half. He's been really, really good in this department. That you can live with. If it's under 10% for Quincy Williams, you absolutely sign up for that. 7.3. I don't think. Now, who knows? Maybe that just he continues to improve and the number goes under 7%. But if he's living in that 7 to 9%, like that is something that you could live with Quincy Williams. And on top of that, like we know the tackle numbers have been high the last few years. He's on pace through 4 games for 166 tackles. The guy's been an absolute machine out there, a tackling machine. Who is this player? This does not look like the same Quincy Williams, because yeah, at times the last 2 years he flashed this talent. Like it's never been an issue of talent for Quincy Williams. He runs around like a maniac. He's hitting people like crazy. But it was it was a boom or bust player. Quincy Williams is a very boom or bust player. Through 4 games this year, there's been no bust. It's been all boom with Quincy Williams. He's flying around. He's making plays. He's not missing tackles. He's getting pass breakups in huge spots. Like, he's been really, really good. And again, like I've been hard on Quincy, and I want to call it like it is. If someone that I think is struggling, I will call them out for it and say I think this player is struggling because X, Y, and Z. If this player is playing well, which again I think Quincy Williams is playing at an elite level right now, I'll give him credit. It's as simple as that. I want the Jets to be a good football team. I want the Jets to win as many games as humanly possible. I'd rather be wrong about a player like Quincy Williams and the Jets win football games. And so far in 2023, I've been very wrong about Quincy Williams. He's been legitimately great through the first 4 games of the year, and he's playing at an elite level. I hope that continues for him the rest of the season, because if that's the case, again, that just adds an extra layer to this defense. Robert Saleh said in the past that he views Quincy Williams as a Pro Bowl level linebacker, and at the time I thought he was crazy. I thought there's way too much boom or bust in this guy's game. He's way too streaky. The highs are very high, and I get it, but I don't know if we'll ever be able to, coach out of him the missed tackles and get him better in coverage. But he has. He's gotten significantly better, and his contract might end up being a steal. You thought like, okay, you got to pay a little bit of a premium to Quincy so that Quinnen stays, and right now those brothers, they are playing really good. The Quincy and Quinnen brothers, the Williams brothers, good Lord. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we know how they are on the set. Like the defensive line and the corners, like that is the strength of this defense. But if Mosley could just still be that smart, high IQ player and Quincy Williams just becomes an absolute stud, which he's looked that way through the first 4 games, this could just elevate the defense even more. I love it. I love it. Good stuff, Quincy. Thank you for making me eat my words on you in 2023. I love it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on Quincy Williams down below in the comment section. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.